the Board of Adjustments posted, the meeting time was posted the 7th day of January 2020, and for a meeting to commence at 6:30 on January 12th, 2022. And we will do a roll call of the board.
Lancaster,
Present.
Vasquez,
Here.
Terry,
Here?
Palacios. Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
Okay, at this time, we'll open a citizen comment period. If you'd like to make comment, then it is open for the next few minutes. Do we have anybody posted as signed up on the citizen comment?
No.
Okay. We'll wait just a minute if anyone wants to approach. Since there are no members of the public wishing to comment at this time, we'll close the citizen comment period, and we'll move on to the minutes of the previous meeting, Board of Adjustments minutes for November 8th, 2021. Did everyone get a chance to review those minutes?
Yes.
We'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes in a second.
I motion to approve.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the minutes for the November 8th meeting are approved. And the first item up on our action list is a consider request by Jeff Brubaker of Perry Homes for a variance to allow encroachment into the side setback per Exhibit D of the Blanco River Ranch De-Annexation and Development Agreement for property located at 273 Painted Creek Way. And we'll open a public hearing. And that would be at 6:31. All right, so there's no one present to make a public hearing. We'll then entertain a presentation from the petitioner. Yeah, please state your name when you, and identify yourselves, please.
Sure, I'm Nick McIntyre, Perry Homes.
And I'm Jeff Brubaker, Perry Homes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I guess the key thing to look at on here, and really the overall request from this, is we've got it's a two-story home, and there's a bump out on the second floor that encroaches the side yard setback slightly. So from the plot plan view, you can see where the footprint of the home fits within the side yard setbacks. It's the second story, and we have another photo that's in the application package that I think will make it a little more clear of what we're talking about.
Which photo are you referring to?
There's one that's street facing, or from the street facing the front of the house.
I don't believe I have it as backing material, so I apologize.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, what do you say is very clear? Okay.
Basically, it's a cantilever, second floor. That cantilever's over the foundation a couple of feet, and we were showing kind of how much in distance between the house to the left.
So
Okay.
we still maintain the fire separation distances required
Okay.
for safety. But because it was encroaching into that setback, they told us that we had to come to the Board of Adjustments for this request. Even though it's not physically in the setback in the sense that the footprint of the house is in there, it's the second floor overhang. So there's still clear space for utilities and drainage and anything that needs to occur between the homes.
Okay.
And this is the lower level or the second floor?
Second floor.
The second floor, yes, sir.
And is that the side for of the fence, or is that the interior of the lot?
I don't
It's
understand the
side-
question.
It's the side with the fence. It's the side that shares with another house
Right.
on that side.
Okay.
Right.
And it extends how far out?
2 feet, 2 feet.
2 feet.
So is your setback on the foundation is what, 5 feet and 1 inch?
Correct.
That's
Or
right.
5 feet point 1 foot?
Foot, correct.
So it's a couple of inches then.
Right.
Okay. And then, and the lot width is 55 or 60?
I believe the lot width is a 50. No, that's a 60. I'm sorry, it's a 60-foot, correct. And
Okay.
It's a 50-foot wide foundation.
Okay, I see the foundation line is 49.9. And then, so the lot's 50, okay.
Mhm.
Got it. Or 51.83 is the total lot distance, okay. Okay, do you have any other comments about your petition at this time?
No,
We
not
can call you
now.
back up for other questions.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, we're happy to answer.
I will entertain the city's position.
Will Atkinson, senior planner for the record. When the applicant came forward to say, hey, we may have a encroachment from the second floor, we immediately started having to look into how that got approved and what have you. And there's still a little bit of gray area of how and where it kind of got approved that way. We approved a house plan. They approved something else, but they put the wrong house on the wrong lot is what it ended up coming down to. So, and it wasn't caught by one of our inspectors until the very end of the build. All right. So the house is substantially complete. It may be even more complete at this point, but there's people waiting on it from a wanting to close on the house to move in. There's people that have already signed a contract to purchase it, and they just need approval from the Board of Adjustment to be able to build the house
Okay.
without having to shave off half the restroom.
Right, got it.
So I'm in support of it.
Okay. Questions? Make sure your mic's on and then identify
Thank you.
yourself as a,
Edgar Rodriguez. So again, it's 2 feet that is in cantilever, so it's extended 2 feet. And the easement is, the minimum easement that we need to have there is 5.5 foot. What is on the other side of not your property, but looking at this map that we have on the screen, lot 8, what is it right now? Is it built? Is it?
It's built, it's a completed house that someone lives in. It's a different builder. It's a 1-story, where that goes up to the 5-foot build line as well.
Understood. Again, my understanding of keeping that 10 feet or 11 feet between houses is because of safety, because of fire protection. What consideration has been done to that?
And that's where I was describing earlier, oh, I didn't describe this earlier. As this house goes up and the neighboring house, the roof is gabled back, there's still the minimum width, the 11 feet between the houses from the edge of this cantilever to the roof of the house next door.
And then also at the same time, anytime you cantilever over, you have to have certain fire rated materials that are used and all of that. And so it's a different kind of process that you would do from a normal exterior wall. And so we've also done that as well.
So, but you still have the 2-hour fire rating,
Correct.
so that's still normal,
Correct.
not extra.
Well, because it crosses over the line, we had to use different material because it's past the 5 feet. And so the hardy material that we would use is a little bit different. But yes, in order to withhold, usually it's the soffit is the only material that's that 2-hour fire rated. And for this, it's all of the cantilever.
okay. Patricia, you had a question?
Yeah, Patricia Palacios. Random question, but what's the height from the fence line and from the ground up to where this extends over?
From
Do
the
we
bottom
know?
of the slab,
Uh-huh.
I think there's probably 8 inches from the ground to the slab, but from the bottom of the slab up is 10 foot 1.
And so as that projects out, the other house's roof line is projecting, is sloping away. So even though at the base, you still have the separation on both lots, when you get to that elevation, there's still that amount of separation because the adjoining house on the next property is
Falling
sloped away
away.
from it.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion and a second for approval or disapproval.
A motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion to approve the variance request and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I disagree.
Okay. We have a vote of 4 aye and 1 nay. That motion will pass. The second item on the agenda is consider a request by Chase Kohlhoff of Lennar Homes for a variance to allow encroachment into the front setback per section 53-33, chart 1, and ordinance number 915 of the City of Kyle zoning code for property located at 111 Silver Glen Drive. This time we'll open a public hearing. Since no members of the public wish to comment on the public hearing, we'll close the public hearing at 6:42. And is there anyone from the petitioner to present?
Hi, my name's Chase Kohlhoff. I'm not sure if y'all can hear me. I'm currently quarantined, so Debbie was able to get me in virtually. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Again, my name is Chase Kohlhoff. I'm with Lennar Homes. Thank y'all for allowing me to join virtually today. Will, do you mind sharing the exhibit? Or can I do it, or how does that work?
I am working on getting it to share real quick.
Okay, perfect. So essentially what we have here is a similar situation that y'all just reviewed previously, although it's not on the side, so there is no fire. There's no issues with fire-rated material or anything of that nature. We accidentally built the home too far into the, too close to the street. And the reason this happened was we had an original recorded plat and we actually adjusted it. We amended the plat and shifted the plat line a little bit to meet some utility easements and whatnot standards. And when that happened, we put this lot on hold. Well, we put the lot on hold when we got the new plat recorded. The surveyor and everything went off the old plat instead of the new recorded plat. So essentially this went through the permitting process. When it was permitted, the city reviewed it, we reviewed it, all looked appropriate because the plans that we built off of was the original recorded plat. And then when we got to the final survey of this home and started pulling measurements, we realized that the survey that the home was actually initially planned off of was the one that was prior to the amended plat. So in essence here, we've got about a 3 foot 4 inch encroachment onto the front setback of this property line. So what that means, basically, you've got a 10-foot public utility easement that stretches from the curb to the, you've got the 10-foot, the right-of-way and public utility easement that goes from the curb to the lot. And then from there, you have essentially now 16.61 feet instead of the 20 foot that was the building setback line. And again, this was a unique situation where it was basically one small thing led to kind of this happening. And now, similar situation to the presentation before, this home is built and ready to be closed upon. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Vasquez here. On that, I see, is that, it's the front porch, so what's the width on that front porch? The width is
The depth of that front, the depth of the front porch is about 5 feet, or it's about 5 feet there.
So its depth is 5 feet from one end,
Yes,
front to back?
correct.
Okay.
About 5 feet there.
Now, is it just the porch, or are there posts holding up a roof, or is it a covered porch?
There is. So the covered porch is just kind of that square where it has the porch. It's just kind of that block, and then adjacent to it is actually a living space right in that area. Thank you, Will.
Okay.
So to keep in mind, the front of the home is still 30 feet, 25 to 30 feet from the street. So there's still quite a bit of space between the home. It's not as extreme as the exhibit here looks, because where the lot line is technically about 10 to 15 feet from the curb still.
And the house is already fully complete?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions at this time? We can always come back and ask additional questions during public comment, but we can also get the city's position. Anybody else?
This is Edgar Rodriguez. What's the reasoning of the 20 feet that is need to be there versus the 16.61?
It is part of the UDC, the development code, as well as the development agreements. It's a standard, I believe that is a standard City of Kyle building setback at that time anyway, at the time that this development was entitled. I believe that was a standard front setback.
Will Atkinson, senior planner for the record. Ms. Chase is correct. Between the development agreement and the zoning code in place at the time, the minimum setback was 20 feet from the property line. To refine Chase's explanation a little bit more, what had happened was the way the development process sometimes works is you can get your approved construction plans, like where they get approval to build the streets and all that kind of stuff, and they start working on it. And while you're doing that, you're able to record the plat at the same time, which shows all the lots and where the right-of-way is, and they have to bond against that. So from a practical perspective, in this case, whenever they built the contractor built the streets, they shifted it a little bit closer to the house on accident. And so that's why they had to replat the property to account for that, but then they accidentally used the old original plat versus the new amended one in the house document. So it wasn't caught on their side of it. And so that's why the house is by default too close to the property line.
And this is the only house on that street that has that problem?
There was a couple others, but they were like an inch. And I was like, it's fine.
Okay.
But this is the one this is close to the corner. So this one is the big issue. And so to be able to approve it and to close on the property and everything, get their CO for it, they need the approval of the reduced setback. There's nothing wrong with what they're asking for from a code perspective. It was an honest mistake that was made, and they're just trying to account for it now.
Okay.
So
And is the 20-foot setback limit standard across all development in the city? Because it seems like we had 15-foot setback issues in the past.
No, it depends on the zoning district, and sometimes there's development agreements associated with it as well. Different zoning districts have different setbacks.
Okay.
Now, the 20-foot setback is one that developers tend to appreciate. But, for example, if you have a wider lot for the R11 zoning district without a development agreement, I want to say the setback's 25 to 30 feet.
Okay.
In this case, it's traditionally like 25 feet, but they have a development agreement that lets them to get down even further.
Okay.
That council approved, so, staff has no issue supporting it.
So this is Edgar Rodriguez again. So the 20 feet doesn't come for a safety reason, or?
It comes from what over the last 5.5 years of working here, no one's actually ever given me a reason as to why we have those setbacks in place. But from a practical standpoint, at least, it gives enough room for someone to have a little bit of a front yard. You can put a tree in there. There's also the driveway. Our minimum parking spaces are 18.5 feet long. So, yeah, 20 is just an easier number to account for when you're talking about the driveway space.
Okay.
So there's some other practical reasons why it's that way, unrelated to tangentially related to the setback, so.
Okay, but it's not like the other, like the 10 feet between houses for the fire not to extend and catch the other house on fire.
Right,
Okay.
there's, when
this
Chase
is
had
the front.
said, yeah, there's the gap between the back of curb and the front of the house, and then there's at least 28 feet of pavement, and then you get to the next curb, and then there's a house on the other side of the road, so there's a massive space in there.
Like you say, parking could
Yeah.
be one of the options.
But also in the front of this property, there's an additional 10-foot public utility easement, so the house is set back 27 feet, roughly?
It's set back to about 20, somewhere in that range from the back of curb, but
Right.
the public utility easement's actually the first 15 feet of the lot. So the section that's outside of the dark black line right up here is actually the right-of-way line, so there's a gap that provides an even further gap from this point.
Okay,
So there's a lot of room between the back of curb and the front of the house.
okay. Any other questions? Was that basically the city's comment or position on, we kind of jumped into it, but
Yeah.
did you have anything else that you wanted to add in regards to the city's position on it?
No, it's not giving us any heartburn that they're requesting this. It makes sense that they are requesting it, and we just don't have the authority, honestly, to approve it. And so
Okay.
we brought it to you all.
Any other questions, Commissioners? Okay,
Motion to approve?
okay, I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yeah, Vasquez, I second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries 5-1. And we're at the favorite part of the evening, adjournment.
I have a question just in general. It seems like, well, the last time, I mean, one of the reasons for you're recommending because the plat, there was a plat issue on one house, and then there was a builder issue on the other. And then the previous time, I don't remember exactly the reason for it, but I'm just wondering, are there corrections being made for this, or do we have, do you know if we have a number of homes that will be going through with these developments?
When you say, are there corrections being made, are you asking, following your action taken, are they making sure those corrections are taken into account to resolve the building permit?
Or to prevent any more issues with platting, builder errors, and I'm not sure what can be done, can somebody,
Yeah.
these builders are double measuring twice, platting, the platting issue, what happened there. And I can't remember what the other issue was.
I don't remember.
Previously,
I don't remember the one from November either,
Yeah,
honestly.
I thought it was a platting issue, but It seems to me that
There
there's,
was an issue with like a home that was built over a lot line, remember? So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it was a pretty unique issue for that property or set of property.
Well, and in general, you have to remember that each case is an individual perspective, and the decision only attains to the case that's before us at hand, and by statute, we cannot overlay any previous case or any post case that would come to address or color your difference. So what we're looking for is a uniqueness of circumstance that's specific to an individual piece of property. Sometimes it's geographical, sometimes it's site elevation, or the elevation of the property changes dramatically. A case we had a long time ago was there was a desire for the city to build a sidewalk, but at the point where the curb of the street was, there was literally no ground for about 5 feet or 6 feet. So it would have required the property owner to actually have to import and create a retaining wall in order to handle the sidewalk that was supposed to be there. So we gave a variance on that basis. So, I mean, each individual case is going to be a unique case, and again, we can't use or color or judgment based upon a prior case or a case that may come before us in the future. You just have to identify specifics regarding the individual property and determine whether or not a variance should be granted or not. And that variance only attaches to that one property. If the neighbor came in and requested a variance on their property, we would have to give consideration only regarding the variance request on that particular piece of property.
And that's correct. Just to give you a bit of perspective, though, from the amount of volume we're doing in reviewing permits for residential. So we've done maybe like 3 or 4, maybe 5 variances requested in the last 3 months or so. And before that, it was at least a year before we met with y'all again. This year alone, we have done, or 2021, we reviewed close to 3,000 residential permits. So while we don't like, while the volume of variance requests has increased more than it normally has over the last 5 or 6 years, the fact that we only had 4 or 5 requests of over 3,000 homes is actually really good.
Yeah.
That means, by and large, the builders are doing their best to stay accurate. Staff is doing a good job of reviewing the permits as well, and it's actually we hold them, make them toe the line in terms of the requirements.
There's been issues where we've flat out said no.
Yeah.
And disapproved, and sometimes we've overruled the city, sometimes we've overruled the petitioner. It's just a matter of the uniqueness of the case, the individual cases that come before us.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
We will.
Yes, sir.
I guess, I don't know if that was still on the record but just a educational process, but we will adjourn for the day.
Thank you.